Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here coming at you with a brand new trophy guide for Morbid of the 7 acolytes. Now this is going to be more of a straightforward kind of guide than anything. It's more or less about showing you how to do everything, get the platinum, stuff like that. Now if you want to play through this starting area you can. I'm actually going to just skip to certain parts. That way the guide is much more shorter and stuff like that. That way you see only the most key important things and going over everything like that. So as you play through the game, you'll learn your squares, your light attack, your circle is your heavy attack, that you have a stamina bar, you can dodge, and you can hold X to run. You can use your D-pad to heal yourself or use consumables, and the top left bar, the purple one, is your sanity. That affects enemies, damage, XP earned. And the little brain up there is a jar that'll fill up, and that'll be your XP. I'm also going to be showing you like bosses and stuff like that. That way you see how to fight them, give you guides, show you what weapons to pick up and grab when you have the opportunity to. So you'll see early on you'll have normal enemies, fairly easy to learn kind of stuff. There's lord, grab, and stuff like that. You know, this is good practice. You can also sneak by holding L2. This will allow you to creep up on enemies and gain a chance to use a heavy attack, which is definitely needed. Every now and then you will find a stone of Dibrum upgrade, which is basically like if you played Dark Souls, a Estus Flask, which is a use that resets. Here you'll have this guy who will give you a quest. Quests will give you XP, so it's good to know. You'll use this stone. This is where you can meditate to refill your stone of Dibrums. You can access your stash to store things away if you want to. You can do quests. You can travel to other stones or other shrines. It's not like directly traveling to each shrine, but certain parts of the map. Here you can see the map and basically where to go. There is a trophy for every single area that you find, so do remember that. As you'll see, the further you get into the game, the more damage you'll actually end up eventually doing to some enemies. There are also upgrades that you can apply to your weapons, of course, i.e. runes that you can equip onto them. Each weapon has a specific number of runes that you can equip. But for the most part, you'll also find this other quest here, which is one I recommend doing, as it'll give you a pretty good early weapon for the first few stages. So I'm just going to be skipping to each area, and then the specifics, I'll probably go through and kill most of the enemies, and then go back through, and then show you what's what. That way you don't have to watch me just running around and fighting everything all the time. I will of course show you like certain major things, of course. There are enemies that you can cheese by being on the back end of them when they attack at you. You can actually also run through most of the enemies if you really want to and just skip having to fight. That's also an option for most of this game if you're really just trying to speed through it. This is another key important item. Some areas will be blocked off, but you need to find and destroy this specific thing right here. It's a feeler gate. It'll let you progress, stuff like that. So coming into our second area here, the Cursed Hamlet, this should get you your first official trophy for discovering the area. Like I said, you'll get one for every single one of those, and then you'll get one for each of the acolytes. And there are a few other specifics related to blessings and stuff like that. I'll also show that. So as of now, I'm just going to skip to when I've fully cleared through most of the area, and we'll show you the specifics. So I'll see you once that is said and done. Alright, so from the starting area, if you come around here, you'll find, you know, useful things, some gruel, some runes, and stuff like that. If you want to come down here real quick and grab a sidearm, and if you come right here, you'll find a upgrade to your Stone of Dibrum. You can also activate the shrines, but they won't reset the enemies in the area. Just resting at them is enough to do things, so that when if you die, that'll be where you respawn at. There are also elite or champion enemies that will have red skulls on them. You will need to defeat so many of them, and it'll come naturally throughout your playthrough of the game. But coming along here back to this right area, we'll be able to actually complete the first quest that we're given. I also picked up a few runes along the way, and this will be our first little sub-boss here. He'll have his own little health bar. If you actually just pace yourself and then use your circles, you can easily deal decent damage. Do be careful as he hits pretty hard for right now. Especially with that one attack. You can also try and bait out certain attacks from enemies. Or you can just play it safe and do like I do. Using the disgusting rules actually will slowly heal you over time instead of a direct upgrade like the Stones of Dibram. But we're almost done with this boss fight. Probably should be two, maybe one more hit. There we go. You'll find this book, which will actually give you a lore entry, and then we'll update you on the quest, as you'll see the Longing Widow. If you come back here, we'll get a better sword to use for now, so we'll switch to that. It is a longer swing, so just be careful of that. But then if you come down here, you'll find some of these octopus guys. If you just use with the short sword 2 circles on them while stealth before they attack you, it'll be easy, and you can find a rune down here, which we're actually going to equip both of these +10s to this just to give us some extra damage. I don't know the specifics on enemy stats and weaknesses for this game, but for the most part I think that you can just add % damage and it's just extra on top. But if we come all the way back here, we can now come down to the second part of the first area, and this will lead us to the docks. You'll have a guy here who'll give you another quest, which we'll be doing now. So I'll see you once this area is cleared of enemies. This is going to be more fish and ranged attacks, so just take it slow, deal with 1 or 2 enemies at a time, just to be on the safe side. If you really want to, you can run back to the first area and get the quest from the lady, which I probably might end up doing, as the sword she gives you is actually really good. It'll be the chick just south of the other shrine. So yeah, I'll see you when I'm said and done with all this. Alright, so now that we're onto the docks, I'm going to show you the most direct route to complete that quest that we just got, and to show you just how to navigate through the area. So you're basically going to end up going left and then down. Oh no, yeah, left and then down. It's right over here. This area has a lot of dead ends that you'll end up going to. Just be wary of that. But you'll basically also end up going in circles too. There's a couple of enemies I ended up missing. But they do all end up in the same areas here. If you kept going down on our left, we'll end up at that shrine. Note that every shrine that you interact with will give you XP. So just be aware of that. So now we're going to actually head back up here. Head off over to the right. There will be a thing to get rid of the walls up ahead here. And then this will give you the quest item for the old man, which we'll now take back, and that'll give us some XP to get. Doing quests also gives you some chance to get items from these people. He'll give us the Bow of Ire, which I think is a better weapon to equip if you like using firearms. So now we can continue on and head to the rest of the area into the third part. Note that this second area, the dogs, doesn't count as a trophy as it's still attached to the other area, but the next one that we go to will also give us a trophy. So if we come down here, follow this path around, we'll make it finally off the docks to this one enemy that I was wanting to show off. Some of his attacks. He'll give you a greater rune of anxiety, which will give us some attack speed, which is actually pretty nice for this game. And then we'll come up here through the dead whale and eventually make it to the third area. Grab this item here. Do note that when you're on the docks, your circles are really good for taking out most enemies using this greatsword. So now I'll move on to the third area. The Caverns of Solitude. Now here in the Caverns of Solitude is when we will find our first acolyte. And this is a chance to get a couple more trophies, so you should already get one now. We're going to activate this shrine, which will give us some XP and allow us to travel back to the first area, which I'm going to complete the quest for that one lady and get her weapon, and then come back here and then travel, or not travel, clear the area and whatnot, and then I'll see when that's all said and done. Alright, so from the shrine, if you head up and then down and around, follow the most direct path that we can to get everything we need. Ignore some enemies here. Those heads, those floating skulls actually do a lot of damage, so be careful. If we come up here to the right, you don't have to always kill every enemy in the area though. Here's the elite I was talking about. As you can see, I went back and grabbed the one weapon, so this just leads back around. From the lady, this is the Son of Soul weapon. It's got decent damage. And up here you'll find a shrine that you can meditate at. Find a chest that'll give you another sword if you don't already like the one you got, or you want to back up for other runes. But if we follow this path around and then head down here, we can unlock some shortcuts and stuff like that. Ignore him. As you'll see, this leads back to where we just were. Come down here and around. We can head up here, grab a few items, and then we can come down this way. And if we come back over here, we'll find the thing that'll release the shortcuts back to the starting area, as you'll see right here. So what I recommend doing is just meditating, reset, and now we can just run back through, as you'll see. Ignore the squid boy. If you want to grab the other shrine, that one might be better for this run to get back here. But if we come up here, we can grab our next Stone of Dibram upgrade right here. And now we can be onto our first acolyte. Now if you really want to, you can try and do this fight without taking any damage. You don't have to, of course, but if you really want to, I feel like there's easier acolytes to fight without taking damage. But if you feel like you think you can do it, then by all means give it your best shot. The circles are probably going to be your main damage dealer. He really likes to cheese his dash attack that does a lot of damage, so be careful of that. As you can see right there. The main reason why I say if you really want to try and do this fight without taking damage, that you can. I'm not going to stop you, of course. Try not to die here. As you'll see, pretty tough fight, but probably going to skip to me defeating him. But the reason why I say if you really want to try it, go ahead. But there are other bosses that I feel like are easier, and you'll have much better weapons later on to fight the acolytes without taking damage. So I'm just going to skip to me defeating him. Alright, now once you've defeated him, you will actually get his weapon. You will need to at least have an area that has specifically 6 slots like so available. If you want to use his weapon, I recommend switching to it, as it's a pretty decent weapon to switch to. As you'll see, it's fast attacking and pretty decent for now, but we're actually going to eventually be getting a much better one. Do be careful, as you can still die here. You're going to get some disgusting gruels. But from here, we'll actually find a pretty unique and difficult enemy who likes to spew blood a lot. You do have range with your heavy attacks, so do be careful. Can still hit you. Just take it slow. As you can see right there, we got hit pretty hard. That blood can actually kill you. Just be wary of that. We'll heal up just so we're safe. Grab the items. You can grab them without getting hurt. But if we come down here, we'll find our first 3 blessings of the game. It'll tell you right here. In total there are 15, but you will have to get all of them. These add different effects of how you play through the game and stuff. But if we come down here, we can now finally spend our skill points and choose our blessings, as you can see right here. You can equip 2. For now, just having the Blessing of Recovery, I think, is fine, and the larger health bar. We're not going to upgrade any of these for now. We will actually put some stuff away into our stash, so our greatsword, Solian Trident, normals, you know, our old stuff, basically. But from here, we can now head on to the 3rd area. Do be careful, as there are enemies that will attack your sanity bar. We'll just skip them. This is more of a straight run. We'll get another quest right here, which we can easily come back to later on. Here we'll have a rune destroyer. This actually lets you remove runes from a weapon so you can slot new ones in, because you can get better versions of the same runes that you have. But basically, if we now come up over this way, we'll find some new enemies that we could just run past for the sake of it. Come over here, grab this another rune destroyer just because, and we'll head to the 3rd area, which is the village of aer'abuh. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I could be terribly wrong. But we're actually probably going to end our first video after getting through this village. So from here, we'll find our first... we'll find another blessing right here. Blessing of Fitness, which I think is a good one to grab. But up here, if we talk to this guy, he'll give us a quest. And we'll find our shrine, so we'll meditate here. If we actually grab this map, and then come over this way, we can find this guy who wants to give us another quest. But now if we head up straight here, we can find the main area, the main village. But there's a specific item that we're heading straight for that is probably a really good item that'll carry you through most of the game. And it'll be right there in that area, which I believe we can find the thing down this way and over here to the right. Grab some more consumable items because you can never have enough of those. This area is kind of confusing as it's basically a bunch of side areas and stuff that you have to backtrack to and from. I don't really like that, but oh well, what can you really do, you know? Certain games about level design, really, other than just complain about them. I don't think it's too terrible. I think in some of the later stages, it's a bit annoying, but I'm not going to be mad about it, you know? Just can't change the game now. But alright, now we've gotten that, we can now go and grab the probably one of the better starting early items in the game. So we'll come back up here. And there's only one last thing for us to really grab in this area before we're done. And that is the last blessing for the area. So here we have the face breakers, which is these fist items right here. These are really good. So basically if you want to add whatever you want to them, by all means go ahead. I recommend just using whatever you have that's best in slot. It's not going to be much, but you know, it could be better, really. I like using either ice, fire, or electricity. These items are fast attacking and can do some good burst damage. Now if we come over here and talk to this guy, he'll give us another quest that we can complete. And now we can head up here and grab the last blessing in the area. Blessing of the acrobat, which is actually a really good one. If you want to grab these two items, you can. One is the skull splitter. The other one is another greatsword if you don't already have one. Now do note some, or actually all of the boxes and most of the things that you can break can respawn, which is good. So up here we're actually going to head to the next area, but this is where we're going to end the video. Sadly, of course, but hopefully this has been helpful, more straightforward and informative of a guide for you guys to follow for the game, as when I've looked up most of the guides for this, there's not a lot of people talking or giving details about things. And it's kind of confusing because it's really hard to follow some guides if you don't know what's going on or don't know where to directly go. So here we have the Gardens of Mornia. Once again, this will get you 2 more trophies for finding the village and then coming here. So now we can look at our blessings. So what we're eventually going to do is unequip our health upgrade and then have the acrobat. We'll put a point into both of those just because it'll help us out, and then we'll meditate and we can end the game here. But this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I'll see you all in the next video.